It was a crisp autumn evening in Grand Blanc, Michigan, on September 28, 2025. The kind of night where the leaves whispered secrets underfoot and the air carried the faint promise of winter's chill. The house at 4285. McCandlish Road stood like a beacon in the rural expanse, its light spilling out into the darkness, drawing in over 100 souls eager to shake off the week's burdens with music, laughter, and the intoxicating buzz of camaraderie. This wasn't just any gathering. It was a house party thrown by locals who knew how to turn a simple get-together into an epic night of revelry. Word had spread through social media and text chains, inviting friends, acquaintances, and even a few strangers to join in the fun. The host, a young man in his 20s, had decked out the place with string lights twinkling like stars across the backyard, a bonfire crackling warmly to ward off the evening's nip, and speakers blasting hip-hop and pop tracks that had everyone moving. Bottles of beer clinked in toasts, red Solo cups overflowed with mixed drinks, and the aroma of grilled burgers mingled with the sweet haze of marijuana smoke. Laughter echoed as groups clustered around, sharing stories from work, flirting under the dim glow, and dancing in impromptu circles on the grass. Among the crowd was 18-year-old Markia Robertson, a vibrant girl with dreams of college and a laugh that could light up the room, chatting animatedly with her friends about the latest TikTok trends. Nearby, Robert Taylor, a 20-something father figure to many in the group, was manning the grill, flipping patties with a grin, ensuring no one went hungry. Two other teenagers, both 18, were in the thick of it, one challenging friends to a beer pong game while the other snapped selfies with the fire's glow framing their faces. The party pulsed with life, a temporary escape from the mundane, where worries dissolved into the rhythm of the bass. But as the clock ticked past 5 p.m., the sun dipping low and casting long shadows over the property, an undercurrent of unease began to stir, unnoticed at first amid the jubilation. Whispers of rivalries from town, old grudges simmering beneath the surface floated like ghosts, but no one paid them mind. Suddenly, the crack of gunfire shattered the harmony, sharp and unrelenting, like thunder clapping without warning. Screams pierced the air as bodies hit the ground, the once joyful crowd scattering in blind panic. Bullets tore through the gathering, indiscriminate in their fury, striking down those who moments before had been lost in the moment. Markia fell first, her laughter silenced forever as a round caught her in the chaos. Robert crumpled nearby, his grill tongs clattering to the dirt, blood pooling beneath him. The two young men, full of promise, were cut down in the frenzy, their bodies twitching in the grass as life ebbed away. 7 others were wounded, one critically, their cries mixing with the wails of sirens that seemed agonizingly distant. The shooter, or shooters, had approached in a vehicle, unleashing hell in a drive-by assault that lasted mere seconds, but felt eternal to those trapped in its grip. Panic ensued as partygoers dove behind cars, hid in bushes, or fled into the surrounding fields, hearts pounding with terror. Parents who had dropped off their kids earlier now raced back, phones buzzing with frantic calls. The Genesee County Sheriff's Office arrived to a scene of devastation, bodies strewn across the yard, blood staining the earth where joy had reigned, and survivors huddled in shock, some clutching wounds, others weeping uncontrollably. Investigators combed the area, collecting shell casings that glittered mockingly in the flashlight beams, piecing together witness accounts of a dark sedan speeding away into the night. No arrests were made that evening, leaving the community shrouded in fear and grief. Why had this happened? Was it a targeted hit, stemming from a feud, or a random act of violence that preyed on the vulnerability of celebration? The questions hung heavy as families mourned, holding vigils under the same stars that had witnessed the horror. Markia's mother spoke through tears at a press conference, describing her daughter as a light extinguished too soon, while Robert's friends set up a GoFundMe to support his young child left fatherless. The two teenagers' schools lowered flags to half-mast, counselors on hand to help classmates process the unimaginable. In the days that followed, the house on McCandlish Road stood silent, its windows dark, a grim reminder that what starts as a night of fun can twist into a nightmare in an instant. Neighbors locked their doors tighter, parents forbade their kids from attending parties, and the rural tranquility of Grand Blanc was forever scarred. Yet, amid the sorrow, stories emerged of heroism, guests shielding others, applying pressure to wounds with whatever was at hand, calling for help despite their own terror. But the terror lingered, a chilling echo that in the heart of celebration, darkness can strike without mercy, turning laughter into lament and life into loss. As the investigation dragged on, with tips pouring in but no breakthroughs, the survivors replayed the night in their minds, the pop of fireworks mistaken for gunshots now triggering panic attacks, the scent of bonfire smoke evoking blood and fear. One wounded attendee, a 20-year-old woman fighting for her life in the hospital, whispered to nurses about how she had been dancing one moment and bleeding the next, her dreams shattered along with her leg. The community rallied, but the wound was deep, festering with unanswered questions. Who were the perpetrators, and what drove them to unleash such horror on innocents? Rumors swirled of gang affiliations, old beefs from high school escalating, or perhaps a mistaken identity that cost 4 lives. The sheriff's office vowed justice, but as weeks turned to months, hope dimmed. Funerals came and went, caskets lowered into the earth as loved ones clung to memories of smiles and shared moments. Marcia's was particularly heart-wrenching, her cheerleading uniform draped over the coffin, friends sharing stories of her infectious energy. Robert's child, too young to understand, asked when Daddy would come home, breaking hearts anew. The 2 boys' families united in grief, planting trees in their honor at the local park. Yet the party's shadow loomed, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. Beware the night that promises joy, for it may deliver despair. In Grand Blanc, the roads grew quieter, the woods seeming more ominous, as if harboring the ghosts of that fateful evening. And so the story of the McCandlish Roadhouse party endures, a terrifying testament to how fragile the line between festivity and fatality truly is, leaving scars that time struggles to heal. The sun dipped low over the dusty horizon of Velusamipuram village in Karur district, Tamil Nadu, India, on September 27, 2025, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and deepening purple, as if foreshadowing the chaos to come. This was no ordinary day. It was the 3rd leg of a much-anticipated statewide political tour by Joseph Vijay Chandrasekhar, the charismatic Tamil cinema superstar known simply as Vijay to millions of adoring fans. At 51 years old, Vijay had traded the silver screen for the gritty arena of politics, launching his Tamilaga Vetri Kazhagam Party, or TVK, back in February 2024, with bold promises to combat corruption, empower the youth, and uplift the marginalized in Tamil Nadu ahead of the 2026 Legislative Assembly elections. The rally was meant to be a triumphant spectacle, a gathering of hope and unity in the heart of rural India, where supporters from across the state converged on the open fields along the Karur-Erode highway. Organizers had secured permits for a modest crowd of 10,000, but word of Vijay's arrival spread like wildfire through WhatsApp groups. Social media feeds and village grapevines drawing an estimated 25,000 to 27,000 fervent attendees by midday. Families piled into battered buses and shared auto rickshaws, traveling hours under the relentless sun, their faces painted with party symbols. Vijay's iconic silhouette against a rising sun, and hands clutching handmade banners that fluttered like prayers in the hot breeze. Vendors set up makeshift stalls hawking cold drinks, spicy vadai snacks, and TVK flags that snapped crisply in the wind, their colors of green and white symbolizing growth and purity. Children darted between legs, wide-eyed with excitement, while elders settled on colorful mats spread across the parched earth, fanning themselves with folded newspapers. The air hummed with anticipation, thick with the scent of jasmine garlands and sizzling street food, as megaphones blared Vijay's hit songs from films like Master and Beast, turning the field into an impromptu concert ground. Laughter rippled through clusters of young women in vibrant saris, sharing dreams of a Vijay-led government that would fix crumbling roads, and ensure fair prices for their rice harvests. Men in crisp white shirts and lungies debated policy points over cups of milky chai, their voices rising in passionate agreement. By noon, the crowd had swelled into a living sea, bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder under the meager shade of neem trees, the heat wave making tempers short and throats parched. Yet the euphoria held strong. This was Vijay, the man who had captivated generations with his on-screen heroism, now promising real-life salvation from the DMK's grip and the BJP's distant shadow. As the afternoon dragged on, the delays began, traffic snarls on the highway, last-minute security checks, and Vijay's convoy stuck in a distant town meeting local leaders. Whispers turned to murmurs of frustration, but no one left. Loyalty to their Thalivar, as they called him, ran too deep. Water bottles emptied, and the first faints occurred around 3 p.m., young men collapsing from dehydration, their friends hoisting them onto shoulders like fallen warriors, rushing them to the edges where overworked volunteers dabbed foreheads with damp cloths. Ambulances, few and far between, wailed sporadically, their sirens a grim underscore to the chants of Vijay Varam, Vijay Varam, Vijay will come. By 5 p.m., the sun beat down mercilessly, temperatures hovering at 102 degrees Fahrenheit, and the crowd's density had become a pressure cooker. People jostled for space near the makeshift stage, a flatbed truck draped in TVK banners, where local leaders droned on about Vijay's vision, their microphones crackling under the strain. 8 young children, no older than 10, clung to their mothers' dupattas, their small hands sticky with melted kulfi ice cream, giggling at the spectacle despite the growing unease. One little boy, Santosh, clutched a plastic Vijay doll, his eyes sparkling as he mimicked his hero's famous punch from a movie scene. Nearby, 16-year-old Priya adjusted her ponytail, snapping selfies with friends amid the throng, her dreams of becoming a doctor buoyed by Vijay's pledges for education reform. Robert, a 42-year-old farmer with calloused hands from tilling paddy fields, wiped sweat from his brow, his wife, and 2 daughters by his side, all of them having walked 5 kilometers from their village to bear witness. The rally was more than politics. It was a pilgrimage, a rare burst of glamour in lives, defined by monsoon floods and loan sharks. As evening approached, shadows lengthened across the field, but relief remained elusive. Vijay's arrival, promised for 4 p.m., stretched to 7:20 p.m., 7 hours late, the delay attributed to a helicopter malfunction and protocol snarls. The crowd, now a roiling mass of exhaustion and desperation, surged instinctively toward the highway's edge, rumors flying that his convoy was minutes away. Bodies compressed like accordions, elbows digging into ribs, feet trampling toes in the blind push forward. The first screams came not from joy but terror, a sharp cry as someone stumbled, toppling like dominoes into the dust. What began as a ripple escalated into a wave, the human tide crashing against itself in a desperate bid to glimpse their idol. Parents scooped up children, hoisting them high, but the press was unforgiving. Little Santosh slipped from his father's grasp, his tiny cries swallowed by the roar. Priya's phone clattered to the ground as she was shoved sideways, her arm twisting painfully in the melee. Robert shielded his family, bellowing for space, but the momentum was inexorable, a beast awakened by neglect. Fainting spells multiplied, 30 reported in the first chaotic minutes, bodies crumpling underfoot, trampled in the frenzy. Vijay's open-top bus finally lumbered into view at 7:40 p.m., its engine growling like a reluctant savior, Vijay atop it in a crisp white kurta, waving to the sea of faces. Cheers erupted, a thunderous wave of adulation, but beneath it, the ground trembled with peril. As he gripped the microphone, his voice booming promises of a corruption-free Tamil Nadu, the crowd lurched forward en masse. Fans clawing for proximity to touch the hem of his garment or capture a selfie that could go viral back home. The surge hit critical mass. Barriers, flimsy bamboo poles manned by understaffed police, buckled like matchsticks. Bodies piled upon bodies, the air sucked from lungs in the crush, screams morphing from excitement to agony. VJ paused mid-sentence, his face paling under the floodlights as aides shouted warnings, tossing water bottles to the fainting below. "Police, help them!" he urged, but the microphone amplified only his helplessness. In the heart of the maelstrom, 8 children were lost to the tide, their small frames vanishing under waves of adult desperation. Santosh's VJ doll was crushed into the mud, his 7-year-old body later identified by a faded blue shirt. Priya, the aspiring doctor, gasped her last breath pinned against a fallen banner pole, her dreams extinguished at 16. Robert's wife crumpled, ribs cracking like dry twigs, while his daughters wailed, separated in the pandemonium. 39 lives were claimed that night, including 13 men, 17 women, 4 boys, and 5 girls, with 51 more fighting for survival in Karur Government Medical College Hospital. 26 men and 25 women receiving intensive care for crushed chests, broken limbs, and internal hemorrhaging. The death toll climbed to 40 by dawn, each name a stab to the nation's heart. Aishwarya, 9, who had begged her mother for one last rally. Kumar, 22, a first-time voter dreaming of jobs. Lakshmi, 35, a seamstress leaving behind 3 orphans. Ambulances clogged the highway, their lights strobing red against the black fields, paramedics pulling limp forms from the debris, shoes scattered like fallen leaves, saris torn and bloodied, banners trampled into oblivion. VJ descended the bus in horror, his security detail forming a human wall as he knelt by the fallen, tears streaking his face, whispering apologies that echoed hollowly. "My heart is shattered," he posted on X later that night, his words a raw lament. "I am writhing in unbearable, indescribable pain and sorrow that words cannot express." The field, once a canvas of hope, transformed into a tableau of tragedy. Body bags zipped under floodlights, relatives keening in the dust, their wails piercing the night like sirens. Hospitals overflowed, corridors lined with cots where the injured moaned, IV drips beeping in frantic rhythm. One survivor, a 28-year-old teacher named Meera, lay with a fractured pelvis, recounting to reporters how the crowd's roar turned to a suffocating silence, air stolen as feet pummeled her back. "We came for change," she gasped, "but found only death." Investigations ignited immediately, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin announcing a 1 million rupee compensation, about $11,280 for each bereaved family, flags at half-mast across the state, a 3-day mourning period decreed. A commission headed by retired Judge Aruna Jagadisan was impaneled to probe the lapses. Inadequate crowd control, ignored police warnings for better barriers, and the organizers' failure to cap attendance despite permits. The Karur police filed a first information report against TVK leaders, including General Secretary N. Anand, charging culpable homicide, not amounting to murder, under Section 104 of the Indian Penal Code, alleging violation of traffic rules and safety protocols. Prime Minister Narendra Modi termed it deeply saddening on X, offering federal condolences, while opposition leader Edapadi K. Palaniswamy decried it as unprecedented, directing AIADMK workers to aid victims. Nationally, the tragedy sparked outrage. Stampedes a recurrent nightmare in India, from Sabarimala pilgrimages to Kumbh Mela baths, yet this one, fueled by celebrity fervor, cut deepest. Funerals unfolded across villages in the days after, pyres crackling under monsoon-threatened skies, families clutching photos of the lost. Santosh's mother, sobbing over his doll. Priya's father, vowing to boycott politics forever. In Velusamipuram, the rally site lay scarred, trampled earth cordoned off, wild dogs sniffing at forgotten slippers. Vijay's tour halted, his party reeling, supporters torn between unwavering faith and festering doubt. "He is our hope," one widow murmured at a vigil, lighting incense for her son. But hope crushed us. As inquiries dragged into October, revelations emerged. Police had advised against the venue's congestion, yet TVK pushed ahead, VJ's star power blinding all to peril. Eyewitnesses described the surge as biblical, a human avalanche born of love turned lethal. Meera, the teacher, underwent surgery on October 2nd. her recovery a beacon amid despair. But scars, physical and psychic, lingered. Children in Karur schools drew pictures of the rally gone wrong, crayons sketching crowds and tears. The state poured funds into victim relief, free medical care, scholarships for orphans, but no sum healed the void. Vijay, in a subdued address on October 5th, pledged reforms, better event planning, mandatory safety audits, a TVK fund for crowd management tech. Yet whispers persisted. Was his delay the spark? His security's inaction? The fuel? Protests erupted in Chennai, fans clashing with police, demanding accountability without tarnishing their idol. Globally, headlines mourned Bollywood's political bloodbath, drawing parallels to Astroworld's 2021 crush. In quiet moments, survivors like Robert, now a widower raising daughters alone, stared at the highway, replaying the surge, the screams, the moment hope fractured. The rally, meant to ignite a revolution, instead seared a warning into Tamil Nadu's soil. Adoration unchecked is a force as deadly as any storm. As 2025 waned, the Karur stampede joined India's grim ledger, over 150 such tragedies since independence. A haunting reminder that in the pursuit of unity, division by death awaits the unwary. Families gathered for Diwali on October 29th, lamps flickering against encroaching dark, toasting absent loved ones with tears in their thambulam betel leaves. Santosh's father, eyes hollow, vowed to vote TVK still, for the boy who dreamed big. Priya's classmates planted a sapling in her name, its roots seeking purchase in blood-soaked earth. And Vijay, the unbreakable hero, carried the weight, his films now bittersweet echoes. The field healed slowly, grass reclaiming the scars, but memory endured, a spectral crowd forever surging toward a promise unfulfilled. In the end, the stampede wasn't just a failure of logistics. It was a mirror to fervor's fragility, where joy's embrace can crush the spirit as surely as bodies in the dust. The pulse of downtown Los Angeles thrummed with electric afterglow on August 4th, 2025, as the Hard Summer Music Festival's official curtains fell at Hollywood Park, leaving a trail of glitter-dusted revelers craving more. The weekend extravaganza, featuring headliners like Busta Rhymes, Dom Dalla, Fortet, and Katranada, had drawn over 100,000 electronic dance music devotees to the sprawling grounds near SoFi Stadium, their bodies painted in neon, outfits a riot of fishnets, cargo pants, and LED accessories that glowed like fireflies in the night. Bass drops had shaken the earth. Confetti cannons erupted in euphoric showers, and the air hung heavy with the mingled scents of citrus vape clouds, spilled energy drinks, and the faint tang of festival sweat. As midnight approached, the official vibes lingered, morphing into an underground hunger for extension. An unsanctioned after-party whispered about in group chats and Instagram stories, promising unfiltered chaos in the gritty heart of the arts district. The venue was a nondescript warehouse on East 3rd Street, a cavernous relic of LA's industrial past, its brick walls scarred by graffiti tags and flickering under sodium lamps. Flyers circulated online with cryptic allure. Post-hard glow, no rules all night, luring festival stragglers with promises of thumping house tracks, bottom-shelf liquor, and the anonymous thrill of strangers grinding in the dark. By 11 p.m., the doors creaked open to a flood of bodies, hundreds strong, a melting pot of out-of-towners and festival wristbands, locals chasing the high, and wide-eyed 20-somethings from the valley seeking edge. Inside, strobe lights sliced through artificial fog like lightning bolts, DJ booths manned by unknown spinners, dropping relentless four-on-the-floor beats that vibrated floorboards and ribcages alike. Barrels of cheap punch laced with vodka flowed freely, red solo cups sloshing as clusters formed, groups of women in crop tops laughing over shared cigs, guys in bucket hats, trading festival war stories, and couples lost in shadowed corners, lips locked to the rhythm. The air was a humid brew of perfume, pot smoke, and urgency, conversations drowned by subwoofers that made teeth chatter. Among the throng were two young men in their mid-20s, Alex and Jordan, festival veterans with glow sticks dangling from necks, their faces flushed from hours of jumping to Barry Can't Swim sets. Alex, a graphic designer from San Diego, had driven up solo, connecting via a Reddit thread for the after-party intel. Jordan, a USC film student, tagged along after bonding over Fortet's closing act. Nearby, 6 others wove through the crowd. Mia, 23, a barista with neon braids, snapping TikToks with her crew of 4 girlfriends, all buzzing from pre-game rosé. And Tyler, 24, a tattoo artist whose ink-sleeved arms flexed as he poured shots for a circle of new acquaintances. Laughter pealed high, bodies swaying in sync, the warehouse a pressure vessel of post-festival catharsis. No badges, no schedules, just pure, unadulterated release. But as the clock edged toward 1 a.m., the fragile equilibrium cracked. Tensions simmered like embers underfoot. A spilled drink escalated to shoves near the bar, where a group of East Side locals, tatted up, eyes hard, brushed too close to a pack of festival bros, mistaking bravado for invitation. Whispers of gang ties floated, the warehouse a known neutral ground for Hood Day celebrations. But tonight's mix was volatile, outsiders oblivious to codes. LAPD cruisers had rolled by at 11 p.m., spotting a suspicious figure with a bulge under his jacket slipping inside. Officers shut the party down swiftly, arresting the man on a firearm possession charge, scattering the crowd into the alley like startled pigeons. "Party's over, folks. Clear out," barked a uniformed cop, flashlights cutting through the haze as bass faded to grumbles. Most complied, Ubers idling on 3rd Street, but a hard core, 200 strong, dispersed only to regroup blocks away, spilling into a secondary spot on East 14th Place. A derelict loading dock turned pop-up haven. The relocation buzzed via Snapchat. "Cops bounced, round 2 at the dock, bring your own fire." Alex and Jordan, cups refilled from a smuggled flask, linked up with Mia's group, the 8 of them forming an ad hoc tribe amid the refueled frenzy. Tyler manned an impromptu bar from a milk crate, doling out mystery punches that burned sweet down throats parched from dancing. The night reclaimed its fever, bodies reconverging under string lights strung haphazardly, a portable speaker blasting Kitronida remixes that masked the distant wail of sirens. Euphoria rebuilt, fragile as spun sugar. Mia twirled with a stranger, her braids whipping arcs of light. Alex and Jordan arm-wrestled on a crate, cheers drowning their slurred bets. Tyler's tattoos seemed to dance in the strobe flicker, but the shadows held grudges. At 1:15 a.m., the shots rang out, sharp, staccato pops that sliced the bass like a knife through flesh. Not fireworks, not backfiring cars, but gunfire, multiple rounds from an unseen assailant or assailants, the acrid tang of gunpowder blooming instant terror. The warehouse district, long a tinderbox of gang skirmishes, ignited. Bodies surged toward exits in a blind stampede, elbows flying, screams shredding the night. Alex caught the first bullet mid-laugh, center mass, crumpling to the concrete as blood bloomed dark on his festival tee. Jordan spun toward the sound, grazed in the thigh, his leg buckling as he dragged Alex behind a pallet, hands slick with his friend's life. Mia's crew scattered, 2 girlfriends hit in the chaos, one in the arm flailing for the door, the other collapsing with a gut shot that stole her breath. Tyler dove for cover, a round clipping his shoulder, shards of pain exploding as he crawled, yelling for Mia amid the crush. The other 2 in their orbit fared worse. A stray to the head for one, instantaneous. The second winged but trampled in the exodus, ribs cracking under panicked boots. 8 souls marked by lead, 2 dead at the scene. Alex and one of Mia's friends, eyes staring vacant at the smog-choked stars. 6 wounded, stretchers wheeling them into ambulance bays under coroner floodlights. LAPD swarmed at 1:20 a.m., sirens a cacophony, yellow tape snapping across the dock like a noose. Shell casings glittered mockingly on the pavement, 8 spent 9s from a Glock, collected in evidence bags as witnesses babbled shell-shocked. It was over nothing. A look, a push, then boom. No arrests that night. Shooters melted into the labyrinth of alleys, ghosts in hoodies vanishing toward the LA River. Mayor Karen Bass condemned it at Dawn's presser. Senseless violence devouring our youth. No tolerance. Her voice cracking on the ages. 23, 24, lives snuffed mid-stride. Hospitals bulged. Jordan in surgery for his femoral artery nick, waking to news of Alex's passing. Their last words a slurred, "Epic night, bro." Mia, unscathed but haunted, clutched her surviving friend's hand in the ER, the woman's arm swaddled, eyes hollow with "Why us?" Tyler's tattoo canvas now a roadmap of scars, shoulder-stitched under fluorescent glare, vowing off after-parties forever. Investigations churned, LAPD's Central Division piecing motives, gang crossfire spilling onto civilians, or a personal beef amplified by booze. Social media posts trace the party's genesis, flyers linking to a local set's Hood Day nod, outsiders unwitting pawns. By August 5th, vigils flickered on 3rd Street, candles in solo cups, photos of Alex grinning at hard summer, Mia's friend mid-TikTok laugh. Families shattered, Alex's San Diego parents flying in, clutching his glow sticks like relics. Jordan's USC profs deferring his semester, grief a fog. The warehouse stood condemned, its doors padlocked, echoes of bass replaced by wind whistling through cracks. Hard summer promoters distanced. Unrelated to our event, safety first. But the stain lingered, festivals now under scrutiny for afterglow bleed. As weeks blurred into September, tips trickled, anonymous calls fingering East Side affiliates, but no cuffs clicked. Mia channeled rage into a GoFundMe, raising $20,000 for victims' aid. Her posts a clarion, "Dance, but beware the dark." Tyler inked a memorial sleeve, bullets stylized as bass waves, a talisman against forgetting. Jordan dropped film school, haunted by footage he couldn't unsee. The shooting joined LA's grim tally, over 400 gun deaths in 2025, a stark graffiti on the city's soul, revelry's razor edge, where beats drop and lives do too. In quiet Arts District lofts, party whispers hushed, doors bolted earlier. The dock, once a canvas for chaos, now a scar, weeds cracking concrete, a silent sermon on joy's jeopardy. And in the clubs, bass thumps on, but ears strain for pops in the night, hearts pounding not just to rhythm, but remembrance. Pumpkins grinned from every porch in Los Angeles on October 31st, 2024. Their jagged smiles flickering with candlelight as the city surrendered to Halloween's siren call, a night where masks blurred identities and inhibitions dissolved in a haze of candy corn and costume couture. At the epicenter stood Jake Weber's sprawling Hollywood Hills home, a modern fortress of glass walls and infinity pools, transformed into a spectral playground for the influencer elite. Weber, the 26-year-old YouTube sensation with millions of subscribers hooked on his emo-tinged vlogs and prank videos, had thrown open his doors for what promised to be the bash of the season. Cobweb-draped chandeliers, fog machines billowing from the backyard, and a playlist curated by frequent collab partner Johnny Gilbert pulsing with My Chemical Romance covers and trap remixes. Invites zipped through DMs to a vetted 200, content creators like Carrington Bornstein, Tara Yummy, and a smattering of rising TikTokers, plus a surprise set from the All-American Rejects that had the pool deck erupting in nostalgic screams. The air crackled with glamour's underbelly, designer vampires clinking flutes of rosé-spiked punch, witches in fishnets trading brand deals mid-dance, and superheroes voguing under black lights that made glow paint pulse like veins. Laughter ricocheted off floor-to-ceiling windows, the scent of pumpkin spice lattes mingling with weed pens passed discreetly. Among the revelers was Raven, a 20-year-old indie musician with a SoundCloud following built on haunting lo-fi tracks about lost love, their non-binary identity celebrated in a custom demon onesie that hugged their frame just right. Raven had scored the invite through a mutual, Carrington, a fellow creator whose makeup tutorials had gone viral during lockdown, arriving solo at 9 p.m., nerves buzzing with the thrill of networking in LA's glittering under-30 scene. "This is it," Raven texted a friend back home, snapping a selfie amid the throng, rubbing elbows with the ghosts of TikTok past. The night unfolded like a fever dream. Jake, in a blood-streaked chef apron, manned the grill with theatrical flair, flipping sliders while bantering with Johnny, whose vampire cape billowed as he hyped the Rejects' Dirty Little Secret cover. Carrington, resplendent as a cyber siren, pulled Raven into a circle for shots, tequila chased with lime wedges carved like fangs. 2 rounds in, warmth spread through Raven's limbs, the room tilting in that golden buzz where strangers become confidants. Conversations flowed, pitching collabs with Jake over vinyl spins, dissecting Johnny's latest emo playlist, Carrington's tips on lighting for haunting ASMR vids. By 11 p.m., the party's peak hit, bodies grinding on the deck to Gives You Hell, fog curling like specters around the pool's edge. Raven felt invincible, trading laughs with a cluster of influencers, their demon tail swishing as they downed a third drink from the communal punch bowl, its fruity tang masking the vodka's bite. But as midnight loomed, the glow soured. A wave of dizziness crashed over Raven, vision blurring at the edges, limbs heavy as lead, a cotton-mouthed fog descending like a shroud. "Whoa, too fast," Raven muttered, steadying against a wall, chalking it to festival fatigue from a pre-party gig. Security, 2 burly guys in black polos enforcing the guest list, eyed them sidelong. Earlier, Raven's animated storytelling had rubbed a guest wrong, whispers of making folks uncomfortable circulating. "Time to bounce, kid," one guard grunted, ushering Raven toward the gate despite protests. "Not drunk, just off." Carrington, pulled aside mid-convo, nodded vaguely. "Yeah, get him an Uber." But the night pulled her back, shots and spotlights reclaiming focus. Johnny, deep in a jam session with the band, barely registered the exchange. Jake, orbiting his own orbit, waved offhand from the grill. Alone now on the winding driveway, Raven fumbled for their phone. Gone, slipped from a pocket in the haze, leaving them adrift under sodium lamps that buzzed like angry hornets. The hill's curves twisted into isolation, distant party bass a mocking heartbeat. Vulnerability bloomed cold. Under 21, under the influence, underdressed for the chill that nipped at exposed skin. Attempts to re-enter failed. Guards stone-faced, lists closed, no readmits. Texts to Carrington pinged into void, battery dying at 12%. Minutes stretched to eternity, the world tilting, a nausea roiling deeper than booze. Then shadows detached, 2 figures emerging from the gloom, men in their 30s, faces obscured by hoods, strides purposeful. "You good?" one drawled, voice oily, close enough for whiskey breath. Raven's tongue thickened, words slurring. "Waiting. Ride." The other chuckled, low and wrong, a hand steadying, too firm, on their arm. The world funneled to pinpricks, resistance melted, limbs puppets on severed strings. What followed blurred into nightmare, dragged to a secluded alcove off the road, the assault brutal and mechanical, clothes torn, body violated under the indifferent stars, laughter punctuating grunts like punctuation on pain. Raven's mind fractured, fragments of screams lost to the wind, consciousness flickering like a faulty bulb. Dawn's grey light found them curled fetal, bruised and bloodied, the drive's gravel biting into skin. Stumbling home via a neighbor's call. Raven piecing shards, roofied, likely in that punch, predators preying on the fallout. Horror crystallized in the shower's scald, sobs mingling with steam, memories jagged as glass. By February 2025, Raven broke silence online, a raw TikTok thread, then a full YouTube vlog. Halloween night, from party to predator, detailing the drugging, ejection, abandonment, assault. Views exploded to millions, comments a torrent, support from survivors, venom from skeptics. Accusations leveled at hosts. Jake's secure event ignoring protocols, no wristbands for drinkers under age, Uber mandates flouted, Carrington's refusal to clarify, citing Raven's blackouts, Johnny's silence, his circle complicit in the void. Jake responded February 10th, a statement on Instagram. Devastated. Event was filmed, guarded, assault post-party, off-property. Offered aid via mutuals, no restraining order filed. Footage shows phone in hand briefly. Yet cracks showed. Security lapses admitted, a guest later ID'd as punch spiker via anonymous tip. Carrington posted February 12th, empathetic but evasive. Heartbroken, but boundaries. Can't speak for blanks. Johnny, through girlfriend Grace Van Deen, echoed solidarity sans specifics. Backlash boiled. Boycotts of merch lines. Hashtags like #influencer accountability trending. Reddit threads dissecting every frame of party vlogs for clues. Raven's therapy marathon began March 1st. Flashbacks ambushing mid-melody. Trust in scenes evaporated like fog at dawn. No arrests for assaulters. LAPD investigation stalled on lack of DNA matches. Witnesses scarce. But a civil suit loomed against the estate, alleging negligence. Failure to ensure safe egress. Ignoring intoxication signs. Prioritizing content over care. The house party, once viral gold, epic haunt with rejects, racking 10 million views, soured to symbol. Influencers glamour masking peril, where likes lure and lights hide horrors. Vigils at the hills in April, candles under windows, survivors sharing stories of similar shadows. Jake stepped back, collabs drying. Johnny's emo empire dimmed by doubt. Carrington pivoted to advocacy vids, too late for some. Raven rose phoenix-like, dropping a track, Shattered Mask, in June. Lyrics lacerating. Costume on, but the monster's real. Left in the dark, no night, no shield. Streams hit platinum, a fund for assault victims swelling to 50,000. Yet nights lingered haunted. October's chill evoking echoes. Gravel under skin, laughter turned leer. The bash, meant for memes and memories, etched a scar. Funds fragility in fame's glare, where one spiked cup cascades to catastrophe, leaving souls adrift in the after. As 2025 unfolded, LA's party circuit tightened. ID scanners standard, sober rides enforced, but whispers persisted. Who's watching the watchers? Raven, mic in hand at a July Survivor showcase, voice steady. I survived the night that broke me, to warn you, masks slip, but monsters stay. The hills stood silent, pool lights dimmed. A ghost house for ghosts unseen.